and the brain is taking over. And welcome to the Beard, the Brain, the Brawn. This is the Brain speaking. And it seems like I'm the only one here today. Well, it is holiday weekend, 4th of July weekend, so everyone else is out. So I thought I would just give you guys just kind of a brief overview of the topics of the week. Let's first start off with Plex. If you don't know what Plex is, it is a server that allows you to host all of your local media videos, pictures, photos, really a lot of your personal content that you have just sitting around at home. You can put that on a, either on your desktop with a big hard drive, or you could put it on, a NAS drive or something like that. And we'll explain something like that to you later about how to set one of those up. But news is that their servers were hacked. So if you have an account through Plex, even if you're just a basic user, not a premium user, you should go there, reset your password. Please make sure you change it to something that's not the same as another password that could match that email, because then they could have access to whatever email account or whatever else you use that password and email for. So recommend you changing that password. Next up is companies that are skipping San Diego Comic-Con. This is actually really interesting because normally this is a place where, big hit movies, comic book related movies, TV shows, comics kind of come out. But it was actually noticed that Marvel Studios will not be showing up. Apparently they don't have anything big to show off at this year's Comic-Con, so they're just gonna skip this one. The same with Sony Pictures and Paramount Pictures. They say that Ninja Turtles 2 and Star Trek 3 are still in the early stages of production, so they don't even have anything to show. And one of the biggest things is George R.R. Martin, the creator of the books of A Song of Ice and Fire saga. The Game of Thrones, the HBO series, and the books. So that he can actually focus on finish writing the 6th book, Winds of Winter, that we're all highly anticipating, and my hope is that it can be out prior to the next season. That could cause a lot of confusion because we've already seen in this past season that the books and the show are kind of splitting off. I'm thinking that the showrunners, the writers for the show, they're kind of making up the source material. They might have hints and they might talk to George R.R. Martin, whatever, but they're pretty much on their own. And so this book can be very different, way different than even what we've seen in the shows. Next up, we're going to talk about Apple Music. Apple Music just came out this past week in Apple Software Update 8.4. And I've used it. You get a 90-day free trial, so if you want to check it out, I would do so. Currently, if you have an Apple device or iOS, iPhone, iPod, iPad, MacBook, anything that can run 8.4 or actual Mac computer or even a Windows desktop that has iTunes, you can actually subscribe and get Apple Music and kind of test it out. Sorry if you hear growling in the background, that's my dogs. But anyway, so the Apple review. So I've been playing with it for a few days. I'm a Spotify user. Sign up for the premium, so I'm paying so I don't hear ads. And I'm not sure if I really like this Apple universe. I have an iPhone, I have an iPad, I've used Mac, and I like their experience, I like their hardware, but it makes me nervous. I have Spotify playlists all ready to go, then now I have to convert all of that into, Apple Music if that's the road I choose. And maybe that's a disadvantage that I've already used a music streaming service, and maybe that's kind of altering my view. But I'm trying to give you guys the the most clear sense of what I'm seeing when I'm using this. And one of the things that I've noticed is that you start it up, looks fine, shows you your new releases and things like that. One of the first thing that bugs me is that it shows the Taylor Swift 1989 album as the recent releases, and that's been out for 9 months by now. So it's not really recent releases. I wish they would fix that. I don't know if this has to do with the Taylor Swift Apple Music drama that happened the last weekend. Yeah, last weekend. But it's not a new release. Don't put it as a new release. There's a section that's called a For You. So it's supposed to be where Apple kind of, takes in what kind of style of music you like, and, is supposed to give you, suggestions, which is totally great. I think it's a plus. I don't think Spotify has that. But you start clicking on these little bubbles that say what kind of genre you like. You click all the genres that you like, you hit next, and then it asks you for actual specific artists that you like. So you go through, add them, you can add more. There's a more section, you just click on it and more bubbles pop up and you just, tap on those. So I did that, picked all my favorite artists, and then I got to where it shows you all of the outcome. And I wasn't really too impressed with it. First off, they have a lot of intro to Luke Bryan, for instance, or intro to. I can actually just pull it up. So give me a second, and I will tell you. But basically, it was pulling up intros to artists, which if I pick them as my favorite artists or whatever, I don't really think I need an intro to them. Intro to Toby Mac, for instance, or intro to Jason Derulo, intro to Limp Bizkit, intro to all these other crazy things. And I don't need intros. I just want a playlist. So it doesn't really pick up what I want. It has a few songs, maybe one or two playlists. But one of the other things is I want to delete this playlist. I don't want it to show up on my, for me. If this is customized for me, I should be able to remove the playlist that they suggest. If you hold down, a menu does pop up, but it doesn't allow you to remove it. It just says, I don't like this suggestion. Occasionally those will go away eventually, and more will pop up. So it's trying, and maybe eventually it'll learn. So, this is just an initial review of it. But it seems all right. There's a couple albums that pop that are like, oh yeah, I want to check that out and things like that. Go to the new, like I said, one of the biggest pet peeves is they have some recent releases that aren't actually recent, unless you consider 9 months. I did finally find the playlists, which are in Apple Music editors and various things like that, not actually called playlists. But man, when I go back in there, it just gives me intro to this, intro to Lush, intro to The Clash, intro to Sparkle How Horse. I don't want intros to bands. I just want to listen to playlists. So I think they need to lessen those, or have a section where this says you want to learn about your favorite artists and where they came from. Here, I think that would be a lot better. Another thing they introduced was Apple Radio. Beats One. I listened to it. It's interesting. I mean, it's worldwide. Everyone's listening to the same station, everything like that. And Beats One is. I mean, that aspect is cool. But when I turned it on, I didn't really. The DJ who was on wasn't a big fan of, and the music selection just wasn't my thing. So I'll keep testing it throughout the week. I've heard people have great things about it. Some DJs are better than others and things like that. So we'll see. But as of right now, not too big of a fan. And then you're still able to access your music. And then you can there's a connect section, which is supposed to allow you to connect artists on Apple Music. So right now, I'm definitely not leaving Spotify. I'm only like 3 days into this trial, so we'll actually see how this goes. And I'll give you a full report, maybe either at the end of the 30 days from now, or maybe 90 days once the trial's up, to tell you what my verdict is, if I'm staying or if I'm going with Spotify. So it's all right. I've listened to it. I feel like the sound quality is a little lower, and I actually had an article from The Verge that says how it compared to the other systems. And Spotify can have a higher bit rate of music. That doesn't really necessarily mean much, but whatever. Just to give you some examples, the price for Apple Music is $10 a month or $15 a month for a 6-person family plan. Spotify is $10 a month with a $5 a month per person, extra per person. Tidal is $10 a month or $20 a month for lossless audio. Google Play is $10 a month, and it keeps on going. Let's see. There is no free tier for Apple Music, so if you want it, there's a 3-month trial that's going on currently. Spotify, it's ad-supported unlimited streaming, desktop and mobile, so you can get on, listen to all the music you want. You won't listen to Taylor Swift, but you'll listen to pretty much everything else. Everyone else pretty much has a 30-day trial as well. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot of differences. The libraries are still pretty big. You'll notice some people don't have some artists are on one system and not on the other, but that's the artist and publication's choice. One of the things I wish they would have done was I would like all of my audio to be in one. So I would have same thing. The movies, you have your movies, your TV shows, you have all your video in one section. I would like that the same thing for music or for audio. I would have my music there. I would also have my podcasts. Spotify now allows you to have your podcast within Spotify, which is awesome, but not all podcasts are there yet, so they're still working on that. But I like going to my podcast, so I kind of wish they were all just there. So we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm not giving up, but just have to wait and see. All right. Next, we're going to talk about more about Apple. Apple has a lot of news this week. Siri has an attitude. If you guys haven't heard already, you should go and talk to Siri, and you should ask her what 0 divided by 0 is. And man, are you going to get a lot of attitude. Basically, here's what she says. Imagine that you have 0 cookies, and you split them evenly among 0 friends. How many cookies does each person get? See? It doesn't make sense. A cookie monster is sad. There are no cookies. And you are sad that you have no friends. So, man, I think Siri just dissed everyone. Man, that's pretty crazy. So if you haven't heard it yet, I would totally advise you do that and have all of your family do that too if they have iPhones or your iPad. So that's good. Another thing is Apple is changing their AppleCare system for battery life. Man, it now as long as you have less than 80% of your actual battery life, not you charge it up and it goes down 80, but it can only go up to 80%. The battery life itself is only 80% left. You can actually go in and get the battery replaced, which is awesome. So if your AppleCare is about to be up, I would go have them check the battery. If it's less than 80%, swap it out, and you're free, because once that AppleCare expires, you no longer get this. It used to be 50%. So, it's definitely a big improvement. Let's see. It can be added to iPhone, iPad, iPad Touch, and Apple Watch. And I believe this also works with the MacBook Pros too. Yes, it also works with your MacBooks. So I would definitely, if you have AppleCare, or it's about to expire, definitely check your battery level, because it will definitely be helpful if you get a brand new battery for free, covered underneath it. Last up, like I said, this is a very short one. This podcast is probably only going to be less than 20 minutes long. But the last topic of the week is Microsoft actually pushed 2 updates this week, actually within hours of each other. Windows 10 Insider Preview build 10.158 and 10.159. This update added a few things. It added the actual Edge browser. It was codenamed Project Spartan. It actually has the one of the final builds of that with the actual design of what it's going to look like. Quite a few improvements, and I think 10.159 actually added the Windows desktop that'll be set by default once you install Windows 10. So that's pretty good. Ooh, sorry, I lost my mic there for a second. Lastly, I just kind of wanted to go over my picks of the week. Like I said, lately we've been doing a lot of picks. I want to try to do picks of the week, and hopefully, my partners, when they come back in action, will have picks of their own. But I'll start things off with, in the month of July, you can do games for gold if you are an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One. You get 2 free games a month. But the big one for Xbox 360 or Xbox One is Assassin's Creed Black Flag. $30 value. So if you're a fan of the Assassin's Creed games, haven't quite played the Black Flag one yet, I would totally at least download it or purchase it so that you at least have it in case you ever want to play it. If you are a 360 member, the big game of this month is probably Gears of War 3. That's the one. So if you don't have that, that one's an amazing game. It has horde mode. Probably one of my favorite multiplayer games, local multiplayer games to play, either with my wife or, with friends and things like that. Last pick is, I like to do a game and a comic. I like to do 2 picks in a week. And that would be the Green Lantern comic. Just started back out with Renegade. It's actually really awesome. Basically, you get a Hal Jordan who has been banned from the Corps and from the Green Lantern Corps, and he's on his own, and he doesn't have his ring, but he built this magical glove that he can't quite control. So it's actually really awesome. So I would definitely check that one out. But that's all I have for this week's The Beard, the Brain, the Brawn. I know it's probably not as interesting because there's not a whole lot of debate going on. But like I said, I wanted to make sure you guys, if you guys do subscribe to us, that you guys keep on listening, that you get value out of the show. Hopefully, I know you probably didn't get as much value this time because we didn't have the great dialogue and the great conversations that we normally have, even the argument between me and the Brawn. But all in all, it's good. So if you guys have feedback for us, we would love it. You can email us at adigitalfix.com, or that's the website to go to. If you want to email us any of your comments, suggestions, or anything like that, it's adigitalfix@gmail.com. Podcasts are located on iTunes, or you can get them you can download them or just stream them live, or not live, just stream them at adigitalfix.com. Hopefully next week we'll have the Beard, the Brain, and the Brawn all in one episode, and we'll talk about some really awesome comic book stuff. So I hope you guys have a good day. See you later.